we'll have to figure that out. All right. There had to have been a much easier way to do that. One of the best parts about a fifth wheel is this front pass-through storage. It's usually really big and it gives you a lot of storage. One of the worst parts about these fifth wheels is these pass-through storage areas. The worst part about them is trying to get stuff out of the back and trying to reach in there and get this stuff and constantly hitting your head up here and all that. So today I installed this and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Much easier. I can pull it out, get what I need, and best of all, there's no reaching in there and grabbing anything. Now, you can buy these drawers pre-made and they're like $500. They're super expensive. So I got these drawer slides from Viver. These are the 48-inch long ones. They each have a 500-pound capacity, which is ridiculous amount of weight. It was about $100, which is a small price to pay if you travel in these fifth wheels a lot. Makes it much easier. The piece of plywood I got was $50. You could probably find a cheaper one. I just got more of a finished grade one. So get yourself a set of these drawer slides. I'll link these ones below. I got them right on Amazon. There's a bunch of different sizes you can get to fit your space. Get yourself a sheet of plywood. Let's build this. Alrighty guys, so for this project, I'm gonna be using a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. I bought a full sheet. I'm not gonna use the whole thing, but I got a couple other projects I'm gonna use it for, so I got the full sheet. To break it down, I am going to cut this down to 52 inches. That's gonna be the length of my drawer. And then the width is gonna be 22.5, which after I put the sides on, will be a total of 24 inches. That's just how I measured to fit my stuff and what I'm going to be putting in there. Yours may be different depending on where you're going to be using it. So for starters, I'm going to break this down to 52.5 inches. So to do this, I'm going to be using my track saw. You absolutely don't need a track saw. Any circular saw would work. I'm just using this because I have it. Okay, so this will be the bottom of my drawer. Alrighty, so this is the piece I got left over after cutting the drawer bottom out of it. And what I'm gonna do is cut the drawer sides out of it at the same length, which is already 52 inches. And I am gonna cut mine at 3 3/4. And I'm actually gonna cut 3 lengths out of this because 2 of them will be the drawer sides, and then I'll be able to cut the drawer back out of that as well. So I'm gonna cut 3. And then set this piece aside, because we're still going to use that for the drawer slide supports. But first, we're going to get this drawer box made. All right, so this is the bottom of my drawer box. So it's the drawer bottom. The bottom of the drawer bottom is what it is. So what I went through and did was just kind of mark a couple pencil lines of where I'm going to put pocket holes. I'm going to assemble this with pocket holes. With this right here, just my Kreg jig. And then also on the drawer sides, I put a couple different pocket holes, marks, that will connect the back, which will go right here. I'll show you when we get these pocket holes drilled, it'll make sense. All right, now to the third piece I cut. This is going to be the drawer back, and I know the width of my drawer is going to be 24 inches, and this is going to connect the sides and the bottom all together. So I'm going to cut this to 24 inches. All right guys, and now I'm going to connect the bottom to the sides. So I'm just going to put a little bead of glue down this. Then all I need to do is connect the back, just like that. All right, so now out of this same piece that we got left over, I'm gonna cut 2 strips at 4.5, and then 2 more additional strips at 2 inches apiece. All right, so now with the 2 thinner strips I just cut, I'm gonna put pocket holes going this way down one side of them. All right, so with the pocket holes drilled in that, I'm gonna take the wider ones we just cut, and what I'm making here is the drawer slide supports. So these are gonna sit inside that storage area, and then the drawer slides are gonna get mounted to this, and the drawer is gonna run in between them. So what I'm gonna do is glue and screw this right here. Alrighty guys, so this is how this is gonna go. These drawer slides are gonna get mounted right to these brackets with just this yellow part sticking out, because that's what locks the drawer slides. So when you lift that, they pull out. So just to give an idea how it's gonna go in there. Alrighty guys, so basically I have it laid out how it's gonna go together. These supports are gonna get screwed down inside the storage area. Drawer slides are gonna get mounted to this, and then I'm gonna put a spacer to keep this up and get this all mounted together. So let's get on that. Alrighty, so what I'm gonna do first is get these drawer slides mounted in here, and I'm gonna make sure it's straight down to this. I think that's how it's gonna be the strongest. And how you mount these is you gotta release that, and that'll give you access to these mounting holes. They send you some hardware with these, but I think the hardware they send is made for a metal drawer box. Obviously we're doing a do-it-yourself style, and these will not work for this. So what I have here is, in my toolbox I found some door hinge screws. Things that you use just on a residential door hinge, and I actually think these, the heads are just about the same. I think these will work absolutely perfect. All right, so as I said, I'm gonna make these flush up here, and then I'm gonna push them all the way down to this bottom. I'm gonna pull this out until this access reaches right there, and that's where I'm gonna screw it. Another thing that works out really well with these, the door hinge screws, is they're not gonna go all the way through this plywood, which will be very nice. So, and that will be plenty strong enough. Alrighty, so now that part's mounted here. Now we've got to get this drawer box mounted to this part. So how I'm going to do that is I got this wood Home Depot ruler that I'm not really going to use for much. So I broke that in half, and I'm going to use this as a spacer. So what I'm going to do is set that up there, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Spacer is just there so that the bottom of this is not rubbing on this, because they've got to move apart from each other. So I'll make sure everything's all good and I like it. Then what I can do is pull this out a little bit. And then what I can do is release these drawer slides, and all that's got to happen is the front of this metal part and this just need to be flush. Oh, it's perfect length screws. They don't even go all the way through. That's perfect. And then I'll just keep pulling out, making sure this is down on this spacer. Whew, that's gonna be nice. All right, so with this piece left over, this is the one I cut the back out of. We're gonna make the front. So what I'm gonna do is rip this down to 3 inches first, and then I'm gonna kind of make like a, I don't know, the pack outs I got going in here and stuff have handles right here. So I wanna be able to get to them. So I'm gonna kind of make like a U-shaped front. All right, so I draw a little thing kind of to keep it strong, but make it easier to get stuff in and out. So I'm gonna get rid of this part right here. There we go. Now I just got done cutting that, and this would make a lot more sense to have a solid piece of wood here, not plywood, because you got all this open end grain and there's some voids here, which is pretty common with cheaper plywood like this, even though it's not really cheap anymore. But anyway, I'm not gonna glue this. I'm just gonna put a couple screws in it from the bottom and maybe 2 from the side, because I'll probably eventually end up having to replace that just from it getting beat up. Alrighty guys, we got her built. Time to go bring it over there, get it in there, and we'll get it mounted to the frame in the bottom there, load it up and see how it holds. I'm putting quite a bit of weight on it, so I'll be interested to see how it works. Whew, this thing's got some weight to her now. Let's, oh, no way. Come on, I measured like 100 times. Oh, you wanna know something? The sliding part, I should have waited to mount. All right, well, worst case scenario, I'll just have to, I might be able to finagle it in here, but I should have waited to mount the drawer sides. Maybe if we go in at an angle. All right. Okay, at least, now this part is the part that needs to fit out. And we're good. Whew, that had me scared for a minute. All right, so I need to get it mounted. So I'm gonna place it exactly where I like it, obviously so it clears. Right there's pretty good. All right, now for the fun part, I'm gonna try to climb up in here without moving this, which is not gonna be easy. All right, let's just do this. There had to have been a much easier way to do that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go in and load up what I want to put in here. That ain't gonna fit there, but if that'll fit there. And these Milwaukee things are pretty heavy. So that works pretty good. Let's make sure it comes all the way out. It's a little, it bounces a little bit, but that's all right. One thing I would like to do is get a long screw drilled into the frame all the way in the back, and that'll strengthen this up, but there is a lot of weight on this. These things state 500 pounds capacity, and this isn't 500 pounds by any means, but that's quite a bit of weight, and that makes it a lot. I don't understand why it locks halfway though. I don't like that. I wonder if there's a way you can change that. Outside of that, these drawer slides work really nice, and I see a ton of uses for them. The one thing I don't like is this. I want to be able to push it in without lifting these. I don't know why that locks like that. I like that it locks right there, so when I'm driving, it doesn't move. But I don't want it locking halfway. Other than that, this is gonna work really nice. Pull it all the way out, get to what I need to, and just to be able to pull it out and then lift them from out here is much better than reaching in there and grabbing them. So that'll work out really nice. And another thing is super smooth. I really like that. That's a budget way, because those Morryde ones that you can buy are super expensive. And the best part about this is you can customize it the way you want. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.